What's up, everybody? Hello, welcome to the show. I have a sponsor, kind of, this morning, which is this morning? Why do I immediately go to morning? Today, tonight, whenever you're listening to it, SoCal indie musicians, Southern Californian indie musicians, headed by Jenna Alonso, who is an absolutely amazing person, who is basically like, look, you want to tour, you want to get out of Arizona or wherever else you're listening from, or you're in a band, you want to go to California, but you don't want to deal with pay to play. Who the fuck would? That's bullshit. SoCal indie musicians will hook you up. The band that I'm in have used them numerous times, and we leave with nothing but good things to say, money in our pocket, and just connections that will always be nurtured and used and loved. So if you want to get out of town, you want to play California, SoCalIndieMusicians@gmail.com is the email, SoCalIndieMusicians.com is the website, or SoCal Indie Musicians on Facebook. Hit them up. Jenna Alonso is an absolute magician. She will get you where you want to go. She will help you out. Hit them up. I've known a ton of bands who've gone through them. They all leave with nothing but great things to say. So hit them up. Get the fuck to California. Human Kitten is a singer-songwriter out of Ocean City, Maryland, who recently set up shop in Tucson. Here's the thing. Fuck a proper intro. If you clicked on this because you know his music, great! Happy to have you! I know you'll have a great time. If you clicked on this out of curiosity, stick around. I'm telling you, this episode delves deep into some of the most important concepts I've explored on this show to date. We talk about mental illness and depression, anxiety, gender, fucking Kevin Smith and sitcoms. Elijah is one of the purest, most welcoming and warm people I've ever met. And after the show, we went to Chuck Box with my wonderful girlfriend and co-host on this episode, Alicia, in Tempe, and got some amazing burgers and just fucking talked all night long. We went home after everything and just felt like immediately relieved. Like, this is a person we should have known years ago. His wisdom speaks volumes, and it kills me to wonder how much progress I'd have seen in my life had I had him around before. And he plays a song off of his new record that comes out on Halloween, and it's fucking wonderful. So stick around, have a great time, and enjoy the ever wonderful Human Kitten. Hey, welcome back to Getting Stoked. It's been a while. I'm really happy to have who I've got on the podcast today. I have two people. This is weird. I've got Human Kitten, who's my guest today, and I have Alicia, who's my co-host. First time I've ever had a co-host, which is really nice because I don't have to do all of the work. So say hello, Alicia.
Hi.
And most importantly, say hello, Elijah, who is Human Kitten. Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty well.
So when did you start playing music?
A long time ago. Okay, so the whole story goes like this. Like the guitar I brought here, like this has been my only guitar like ever.
And what is it?
It is an '87 Ibanez Performance.
Wow. Okay.
So my uncle passed away when I was 12, and that's what I inherited from him was his guitar, and I didn't really start fiddling around with it until I was like 14, but I just like learned basic chords and like started covering songs like Paul Baraboo and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think Boys Like Me by Paul Baraboo was like the first song I ever learned. Okay. Because it's just like 4 chords.
Yeah.
But then I started writing songs, I think when I was 15.
Okay.
And actually the first song I ever wrote, I think it won me 3rd place in the talent show, and I won like, I think it was only like $50, but
well, dude, $50 that's pretty good though.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty sick for one song for your first song.
Yeah,
so that was cool. That's like more than I make most like. Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. The same thing. So do you still remember that song?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I play it at shows if I want to be like, yeah, check out that I wrote. This is the first song I ever wrote.
Have you ever recorded it or put it on an album or anything?
Yes, I think it was the first song on my like first album, but that album's like it was up on the Bandcamp for a while.
Okay.
I called my music Mr. Saturn.
Okay.
And which honestly I should have kept because
instead of the AJJ reference.
Huh?
The AJJ reference.
Yeah, that's what it turned into.
Yeah.
Well, because it started as Mr. Saturn, and I should have kept that because I love Earthbound. But then I switched it to Elijah and the Lions, which I don't know why I did. It was stupid. Because then everybody thought I was a band, and I had to constantly explain. Like, I would read stuff, and it would be like, they, and like, it would say stuff like, their two voices together, like, seems like two people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I would just be like, yeah, no, it's just me. I just layer it because it sounds better.
Perfect, yeah, just perfect harmony, these two voices.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess they thought I was like brothers or something. I don't know. But yeah, so then I ended up changing it to Human Kitten because I wanted to keep it in like the cat thing because I had my first album had like a lion thing on the cover, and then so it was always like, and then I think the first EP had like another lion on the cover, so I had to keep it cat somehow. So I was like, AJJ. Even though Human Kittens, I feel like is one of their worst songs.
Dude, speaking of AJJ,
no, we're not telling the story.
So we ran
go for
so
it.
we went to the AJJ show for the 10th anniversary.
Oh,
for,
which one? Because I went to one too.
The one you were at.
The one you were at.
Oh,
and
really?
We saw you. We were up like right in the front right corner, like tripping over the stage almost, or the little stage.
Yeah.
And you're a couple rows behind us to the left.
Okay.
And Alicia sees you, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's Human Kitten! Oh my God, that's Human Kitten!" And I was like, "Well, go say something. Go talk to him." She's like, "No, I can't do it. I can't. I can't go talk to him."
Nice.
And they stared at you.
And she just like creepily,
For the entire
just
show.
creepily slobbered and stared at you the entire time.
Yeah, that was sweaty and yelling. Well, that was a good show, but it was like the first. It was like, okay, Diners was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Tyler's wonderful.
Like,
wonderful
the best.
person.
I've always known of him and I've known his music, but I didn't never got into him. But that show, I left and was like, okay, AJJ was great. They were amazing, absolutely amazing, 10 out of 10. But they were what I expected. They gave me exactly what I expected to get. I had no idea that Diners was going to do that. It blew me away.
Yeah, that was I already liked his music, but then like I didn't know he went all out with the performance aspect. It was so great. But like before that, I wasn't really enjoying myself. And it wasn't the first act.
Yeah.
I thought she was good. The like electronic artist.
Rabies.
But the issue was there was like a group of like obviously drunk dudes
I agree.
like right behind
I saw that
me.
as well.
And they were being so obnoxious.
I know.
And the worst part is when she was playing, they were like yelling, talking to each other right behind me. It's like, come on, man.
I know.
I don't know. It's just, I feel like when it comes to like, Trunk Space is like a sober space.
I
And
know.
it's like, you can like have a drink or two, a couple drinks, whatever, and come to a sober show. That's fine. But like, they were,
I know.
they were drunk.
A couple of things really, really like made me feel weird about that. First of all, like you said, it's Trunk Space. That's not what you would normally have happen at Trunk Space. But also, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't expect drunken idiots at an AJJ show. Like, maybe I'm wrong for that.
That's being too hopeful.
Yeah, I guess so.
like there's a certain point where a band becomes big enough.
Yeah, that's true.
That there's always gonna be shit fans. Like,
I know. It makes me so weird.
I don't even think they were like shit dudes. It was just because they were drunk.
understand.
I feel like if they were sober, they would have been fine.
Yeah.
They didn't seem like bad dudes. It's just they were just acting obnoxious.
I agree with that. It makes me nervous sometimes to go to shows because I don't want to run into crazy like assholes.
Yeah,
and that's my biggest thing is I don't want to go like especially punk shows. Like I love punk music, but I get worried sometimes to go to punk shows because I know that's where like no punk band wants it. Most punk bands say this is a safe space, yada yada yada. But I know that it definitely tends to breed like assholes, like because the music is so high octane that you're gonna get that.
Yeah, I feel like with AJJ too, especially like their first record, it's like like their early fan base is like more that kind of people. You know, like I don't know. It just seems like people that are fans of their newer stuff or anything like post Knife Man.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they've more leaned into the like, I don't know, just better fan base.
Yeah.
But like, since they're doing people who can eat people, like it definitely brought in the older fans.
Yes.
More so than it even would have like
Definitely.
at a normal show. So
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was amazing. I thought they absolutely killed it. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
So how did you do I want to know how did you do some of your first recordings?
Earliest record the earliest ones that are online are my earliest.
Yeah,
recordings.
the ones that are accessible for people online. Like
I've done it all the same the whole time.
Really?
Much. Yeah, no, I mean there was the first record that's like not up anymore. I originally did that with a Hey You Pikachu mic.
Oh my god.
See, I was talking about those.
Yeah,
That band. What were they called? Cult of the Yellow Sign.
Oh yeah.
They just have those on stage, and that's all they use. They just press that, and then they run around and sing about Satan.
You need to talk in the mic.
Sorry.
You're like hanging back. So yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, that was just the only mic I had at the time, and like I was really bad in high school about jobs. I'm still bad about jobs now, but like in high school, I think I got a job that I kept for like 3 shifts and then I quit, and that was like my only job in high school.
Yeah.
So I like never had money, so I was just working with what I had always. And I didn't have any like nice laptop or anything, so I couldn't even use like a laptop mic. I just had the Hey You Pikachu mic that I like plugged in my parents' computer and like recorded when they weren't home. But then I think when I was 18, my dad for Christmas bought me like a decent mic. It's a USB AT2020
Okay.
Audio Technica mic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice.
And I've just used that ever since. It's starting to degrade in quality a little bit. I think I might need to like get a new one. Probably after this album, whenever I have the money, honestly. But that's what I recorded everything that's up right now with. Is just the same mic. I've just gotten better at mastering and mixing over time, so it like sounds a lot cleaner than it did originally. I never used noise gates until this like last record. So
that's super cool. So you're just throwing it into a laptop and then calling it a day.
Yeah, I just plug in the USB mic and just do it on my laptop. On GarageBand too. I only use like an old version of GarageBand because I hate the new one. I think the one I use is maybe like 10.6. I'm not sure.
That's super
might be an
funny.
older one, but yeah.
So who were some of the first people who inspired you to really start doing this?
My first like favorite band was Defiance, Ohio.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, they were my favorite. I think my brother introduced me to them when I was like 13, and I got really into them, and I just got really into like folk punk in general. And I ended up seeing Defiance, Ohio like more than 5 times before I even turned 16. And I the first time I saw them, me and my brother and his friend like followed them from DC to Philly and saw them 3 times in a weekend.
Holy shit.
Because like they played in DC, and then the next day, I think it was like a Saturday and a Sunday, they played in Philly a day show and then a night show as well. And I think the night show was like at a vegan restaurant, and there was a vegan buffet as like part of the show. So like you paid to get in. I think it was a little more expensive than usual, but you got an entire vegan buffet. It was like I had vegan shrimp, better than you would think.
That's
like,
awesome.
Actually, like
how does that happen? How do they do that?
Magic, yeah. I have no idea. Vegan food astounds me because it's so good.
Yeah, no, I was vegetarian for 6 months in high school, and I gained a lot of weight because I ended up just not eating vegetables but eating really awesome vegan alternatives to the meat and just
Well, see, yeah, that's the funny thing about the vegan stuff is some people do it for health reasons, but the thing is like a lot of the fake like vegan foods, they're super processed.
Yeah.
Like they're not actually good for you.
Yeah. So you followed around Defiance, Ohio. Did you meet them at all?
I think I probably did. This is a lot. I have such a bad memory, and like I ruined it from like college and shit. But
yeah, for sure.
So I like even went further down the rabbit hole of bad memory. But I think I did. I mean, I remember distinctly last time I saw Defiance, Ohio was 2011, and I remember distinctly talking to Theo then,
because
he's my favorite. Because Nana Grizzle is amazing too.
I love them so much.
Yeah, so good. The new album's great, but
I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm not a huge fan, not because I don't like them, but they're one of those bands that have been on a laundry list of bands to listen to. I like the album that has the dinosaur on it.
Is that Love It, Love It?
Yeah.
It's a great one.
I like that. That's the one. That's the only one that I know.
Yeah, I feel like Ruth is the best one. That's the next one, and then like I think they went on like a 6-year. I don't even think it was like a break, but they just didn't record anything.
Yeah.
Then they put out the new one.
So Defiance, Ohio, is that the big like number one for you? As far as
that was the big like formative band, I'd say. Whereas like, and then after that, I got like really into Paul Baraboo, and that sort of shaped the like singer-songwriter type thing. Whereas like that's kind of what I wanted to do, just like because Paul's whole thing was he doesn't do any like acoustic solo stuff anymore. I think he only does like electronic stuff, and like he draws pictures on Instagram. But but yeah, no, he was like my first. I think he was the biggest like formative act for like me wanting to be a solo musician. But let me think. I was like, of course, I was into like Bright Eyes and stuff. I was a teenager. I mean, I still love Bright Eyes, but like Bright Eyes,
15.
every
forget
like,
about it.
Well, what's that? I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning, and everything before that are like peak.
I completely agree.
Peak emo.
I completely agree.
He just has I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning, and then what's the one that doesn't even consider like a Bright Eyes?
Which one? Digital Ash and Digital Earn?
I love. I honestly I like that one more than I'm Wide Awake.
Really
and
interesting.
People get angry at me.
Well,
I'm not gonna get angry, but it's a very interesting opinion.
Well, I just like that. It's sort like that album sort of felt like the Bright Eyes Postal Service album.
Oh yeah,
like because he leaned into the whole like kind of what's the word? Not electropop, not really. That's not what I mean. I'm looking for a different word, but so Bright Eyes. What else? I was a real like indie kid. At least early in high school, I like got more into like deeper folk punk stuff when I got older. I actually didn't really listen to AJJ like deeply until after Knife Man came out.
Really?
Yeah, like it's funny because my friend in theater class showed me the song I Love You.
Yeah, of course. That was the first one that I heard
that's the one
too.
everyone knows.
Yeah, the first one I heard too.
So it was like we were in theater, we were like rehearsing a show in the outdoor theater or whatever, and she like gives me these headphones. She's like, I think you would like this song, this band. And I was like, oh yeah, that's funny. And then I like never really gave thought to AJJ for like years after that. But then Knife Man came out and it blew me away. And then I listened to everything else and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they sort of shaped my actual like music ambition of like just doing it.
Yeah, a Knife Man came out right when I got into them, I think too. But
I feel like that's their best.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's
me, you, and Anthony Fantano all agree on that one. But you know what though?
One of the few things I'll agree with Anthony Fantano.
You know what? I disagree with him on a lot of things, but I still watch him religiously. I just really enjoy him.
I only watch it when it's like a band I like. Like I think the last one I watched was like the new Smith Street album.
Okay, yeah,
Anthony
for sure.
Fantano review.
What were you gonna say?
What other, like you said, deeper into folk punk?
Yeah.
What other artists were you influenced by?
Oh God, I listened to just like everything. Like have you ever Ryan Harvey? He's like a big, I think DC. No, it might have been Baltimore. Yeah, he's a very prolific like Baltimore like folk punk guy, and it's I think he like Riot Folk. I think that's like the venue. I mean, not the label. No, it's like the label he's a part of, or at least was. I'm not sure, but anymore. I haven't really caught up with him in years. But yeah, I got really into him. He's like very, very political. Like just songs straight up about like Bush's war crimes type stuff. Like, yeah. So just stuff like that a lot of people don't really know about. But then,
so did
like,
you ever get into like Pat the Bunny and
Oh,
Days
yeah,
and
of
Days?
course.
And, yeah.
Well,
All the
yeah,
more surface level.
Pat's great. Pat's
wonderful.
Pat is like
A father
folk
figure.
punk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pat,
he's-
he was
He's
like
Johnny
it.
Hobo,
Yeah.
Wingnut Dishwasher, Ramshackle Glory, and somewhere in Tucson, maybe?
Yeah, well, I don't think he lives in Tucson anymore.
anymore.
I'm not sure what he's up to. I think they made like a joke.
Oh my
post on
god,
the
it was
Ramshackle
so
Glory.
funny. I
Yeah.
sat there and we're driving and I'm like reading this and dying laughing. It's like, Pat, come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically saying that. Well, you have to say it now. Like, it was about like Avatar, right?
It was the Avatar, yeah. Is that the same one you saw?
The Avatar. What?
Okay, so there's this big thing about Pat, and I'm like reading, and then it's like, then the Fire Nation attacked at the end. And
Oh yeah. Okay.
and I'm like, Pat, I respect you.
yeah, basically
and
explaining where he's been these last
been
years.
frozen
Well, it's
in
'cause
an iceberg.
everybody's been like obsessing about it. Like I made like a Pat the Bunny like I started making memes.
Your meme page is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but so I did a like Pat the Bunny like ranking of the albums, and of course people in the comments are like, "Oh, he's become like a monk now." It's like, why is everybody like speculating? Like, let him live his life. Like, it doesn't really like he gave you all this music. Like,
I think last time
let him be now. He's just doing his thing.
and being happy, and I totally
Yeah.
respect that. I think
Hopefully,
last time
yeah.
I saw him was 2015. Was he was in Phoenix and he played with Days and Days, I believe.
Maybe, I don't know. When did you see him? Did you see him with us at A Side of Heart too in Phoenix?
I saw him at A Side of Heart with like Travis James and Line Cutters. That was probably like 4 years ago.
Well, that's what happens though when you give someone that much material and you make yourself this like iconic figure that everybody loves, and like they use your music to make themselves align with something, and then you just disappear. Everyone's like, "What the hell happened?"
Well, I think he did it right though.
I
It's
agree.
like it's
He
like
did. He got his
because
send-off.
Yeah.
it's like with Johnny Hobo, it was like, oh, he was young and reckless, and then he went into Wingnut, which was like the crisis like albums where it was like he was like still staunchly political, but it started to get a lot more personal about like what his place within his like political views was. And then Ramshackle was full on just like what it means to be politically conscious as a human being in society, like.
And it was also partly like a get better. Like I'm not feeling as stressed out. Here's me and all my friends, and we're gonna put this album out to let you know like we're self-aware and like this is how we do it.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, my dog's being an ass.
Oh no, she's good.
All right.
Yeah, no, but I think that's like Pat's whole strongest thing is that he brings the personal so like deeply into the political, where it's like indistinguishable from each other. It's like, I don't know, it's like stuff like Your Heart Is a Muscle is like it's one of those like feel good type of songs, but it's so deeply political too, because it's drenched in like political dread.
It's like it's for sure. It's like the growing up in Phoenix or Tucson or wherever in the inner city, like folk punk kid anthem.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
My favorite album of his, like other than
Live the Dream.
Yeah, it's the best one. But
is
his last solo album, because I think that one is just like it's the send off. It's like he did the EP, the split afterwards, which is good.
The Ghost Mice split. Which one?
No, I'm talking the Keshi split.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Chess Key, I think is how it's pronounced. But yeah, that was the last one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the Ghost Mice one
was way before that. It was,
and that was
he was still
Ramshackle.
Ramshackle, not just solo.
But
Which I haven't,
I think like what was it? Possibly, probably nothing, possibly everything. That album is so good because it's just like it's the send off. It's him just being like, hey, I have to like be an adult and try to be a stable like human being and try to be the best person I can be, and like trying to fit in this like persona that is like wrapped around him from the folk punk scene. It like doesn't fit in anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it like that's the album where he realized that. But that's why it's so good, because like if his old fans listen to it, it's much more mature. And it's like a confrontation where it's like if his older fans are like, oh, Johnny Hobo's the best stuff. Mm-mm. They listen to that and it's like, oh, my hero is like now
a normal person.
Yeah, he's like he like got his shit together. Yeah. Like he's trying to be like good. He's trying to like live well, you know. And I think that's something that is discouraged within folk punk because it's like just I mean,
I agree.
I
agree.
I like a lot of Days and Days music, but I think they nurture a bad fan base.
I agree
because it's self-destructive.
Some people are just predisposed to being self-destructive, and when they attach to something that makes them feel justification for that, and then when that justification is gone, they're like, well, fuck you, because I've been following this forever and feeling great about myself, feeling awful about myself, and now I can't do that anymore, and they don't like it anymore, and that's totally. It kind of happened with AJJ a little bit too. I consider their most recent album to be a quote unquote get better album, especially with songs like Small Red Boy and things like that. I feel like a lot of the album is about like no more shame, no more fear, no more dread. Like
it's the imagery of like being this like broken child and how it's like that's always going to be ingrained in you, but it's like about the healing aspect of like having like reflection on that part of you and that like time you lived, it's great album. I don't like it when people are like, oh, they suck now. It's like, no,
I like
you're wrong. It's like they're still great. They're just different, and that's not a bad thing. Because like Sean Bonet's just such a good songwriter, and his lyrics are always so good,
amazing,
that it's like they could change musically so drastically and I'd still love it because the lyrics are always going to be incredibly insightful and smart. Like,
so our number one favorite musician is Frank Turner. And
Frank Turner's great.
Yeah.
Frank Turner's amazing.
He's like we got tattoos. Like we're really, really, really like psychotic about our love for him.
Yeah.
And we were talking to him outside of Livewire last year, and
beginning of this
year. And we were talking about HHJ. And he's like, what did he say? I think he was talking about how songs often need to open with like a strong one-liner to really kick the song off, and the Sean Bonnet's the absolute greatest at the opening line, like immediately getting you invested.
That's the thing with Knife Man. It starts out. I'm the Michael Jordan of drunk driving. That's the first line, and that's just so good.
And it hooks you, and it makes you want to know, okay, further, like, what does that mean?
What the hell is
like,
this about? Yeah.
You have to keep listening.
So good.
And he does that with everything. And Frank, had a wonderful point when he said, like, songwriters now, they just kind of want to talk at you, and they don't hook you into the song before they start telling you their reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So speaking of which, like, who would you consider to be some of the people you would really want to play or tour with?
Oh, wow.
If you could make a dream list, like all of these people are in your wheelhouse.
Ooh, that's stressful.
Sorry, I don't want
to no, it's just like I'm being put on the spot in a way where it's like, how do I not pander to these bands that I love right now? I don't know. I'm gonna be with this answer. I'm gonna try to keep it with people that are at least somewhat within my wheelhouse, so I'm not like reaching too far.
Okay, got it.
I don't know. I love diners. I don't know Tyler very well yet. I think I've only met him like once, but I don't know. There's a lot of like up and coming bands that I like that I share a lot of like the same fan base with.
Really, like who?
Stuff like McCafferty is pretty cool. They're essentially like Front Bottoms light, but like not in a bad way.
Okay, gotcha. No, I understand that.
They're a fun band. They're this dude who came to one of my shows, I think it was like outside of Boise. He was wearing a McCafferty shirt, and like it was just funny because it was like I already thought like they'd intersected, and it was just like right there.
Hell
like,
yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's awesome.
I don't know. There are a lot of I don't know. It's like hard because I feel like my music doesn't really like fit into like established scenes because it's like it's not folk punk enough.
Yeah,
it's not pop punk enough. It's like not anything enough to where it feels like I don't know. It's just like because it's I like what I listen to is both, but then I don't really feel like I would be able to I don't know. It's like I listen to a lot of like pop punk bands. Like Remo Drive is a band that's like getting kind of big right now. They're great. They're actually doing shows with Diners right now.
Nice. Hell yeah.
But yeah, they're great. Let me think. Bands.
I know, right? After you leave, you're gonna have like 1,000 of them flood your head.
Well, yeah, it's just hard because like, I don't want to be like, hey, Smith Street Band, you should play with me. I don't know.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I just, the thing is, I don't like tour a lot, so I don't like know a lot of these bands, and it's like, it really depends, like, if I get along with the band, like, because if I like tour with an act, like I'm going to get into their music, you know, like hearing it every night, like that happens, like
absolutely.
But yeah,
do you like touring?
I mean, I don't know. It's stressful. I don't like driving.
Really? I thought you said you like driving.
I like a 2-hour drive now and then.
Yeah.
I don't like 6-hour drive every day.
Yeah, I know. For
like,
sure.
I don't know. I've driven across the country twice now, from like LA to Ocean City, Maryland, and then Ocean City, Maryland to Tucson. And it's not fun. I didn't have a fun time. I mean, I'm sure it would have been better if like I planned a tour along the way, but it's like that's also rough for me. I don't like. I just that's the thing. I never see like unless someone's like, "Hey, I planned this tour. Come with me." Like I don't really see me touring much because I don't know. I've like thought about it. I was thinking about planning a tour for after this album. But then, like, I was just like, it's a lot of work. Only to have to do more work.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, I like meeting people. I love performing. Like, I love playing shows. I'd play a show all the time if I could. But
where are you playing next? Do you have any? I mean,
I think that I've got a show coming up in November. I forgot what day it is.
Is that going to be in Tucson?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Where do you play? Okay, so I was in Tucson, and I'm in a band, and we played in Tucson, and we played. This is years. This was what 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
October of 2015.
We played with Fairy Bones at Tiny Town Gallery.
Tiny Town, never even
exactly right.
It's an artist workspace. It's not even a venue.
Yeah. They just like opened this big cement room and we could all play, and it was awful because it was a cement room, like no bigger than my living room, and all the sound just bounced off of each other. So it was absolutely insane. And then we played this weird music festival that was really sketchy and like didn't pay us and really
they're
sucked.
check bounced.
Yeah. In a huge field in some giant park in Tucson somewhere. But like I don't know venues at all. We saw we saw
Amigo the Devil.
No, yeah, we saw Amigo the Devil.
We saw Amigo the Devil at a record store.
We saw Malarkey for Run on Sunshine at
Malarkey's who I'm playing the show with.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Malarkey. I think he said he was coming back to like pick up some stuff
and playing a show.
Yeah.
Nice.
We
saw him in a thrift store.
Yeah.
We saw him
you have to show him the record. We have one of Malarkey's cat-shaped records.
Cat-shaped lathe cuts vinyls. So wacky, dude. I love.
Yeah, I usually play at Pomoro. At Pomoro DIY. It's just like a house. This guy Terry runs it, and he's super nice. And there's just it's pretty much the most active like DIY space.
I believe
Very
that's
cool.
where Frankly Lost played.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm right now. I'm actually trying to get a show booked for Michael Jordan Touchdown Pass.
What is that?
It's Pat the Bunny's brothers band.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know them.
I
That's
didn't
all
even
her.
know that one either. Sorry.
They're great. Yeah, they're awesome.
Michael Jordan touchdown pass.
Yeah,
I'll have to remember that.
it's a lot different, but like if you listen to his voice, it's like that's his brother.
That's Pat. That's Pat.
Yeah, but it's more like poppy kind of. Yeah, I don't know. It's more like spiritual type music. That's probably a bad description, but
like with
I'd say
like
the
Middle
newer
Eastern instruments.
No. I'd say the newer stuff is more like spiritual, but like the older stuff is, I don't know. It's great.
All right, I'll check it out.
They're great.
Pass.
Okay, so both him and I are very, very, very into like local music scene, just Arizona in general. What kind of like local bands are you listening to right now, if any?
If there's not, that's totally
and that's
fine.
totally okay.
Or just do you like in general?
Who do I listen to locally? I guess, Diners and my friend Logan Green. I love his music. And then I don't know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Well, no, it's just I haven't been around long enough.
Yeah.
And I've only played Phoenix once. Twice.
Trunk Space show.
Yeah, I played the Trunk Space show, and then I played Warped Your Fest.
Oh, I remember
okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so those were the only 2 shows I've played in Phoenix.
For some reason, I thought.
The expos are great.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay,
Closet Goth.
We played with them. We played with Closet Goth at a Weird House show once. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I missed that one.
Yeah. No, you were there for that.
And then I don't know. I've like heard good acts, but a lot of them aren't like established enough to where they don't have like recordings, and if they do, it's like, like a single or 2, and like not really. I don't know, but
I got you.
Yeah, I'm not
Goth,
sure. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we played with Closet Goth at that PPC Crack House show with Troubled Minds.
That was Closet Goth?
Yeah, I believe so. It's just a guy, right? Is it Closet? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Colin.
Yeah. So we played with them. That was super cool. So I want to jump back in time a little bit because this is brand new to me. I just found out about this today. I want you to talk about the In the End cover that you did with Dan from, he had involvement, right? Dan from Flaming Tigers.
In the end cover. Oh, it was for his. It was for his compilation.
That's super cool. First of all, Flaming Tigers is awesome.
Yeah. I haven't actually talked to Dan in a long time.
Yeah, I saw that. I was doing some research today, and I was like, "What?" He did it in the end cover in like 2013, the Linkin Park song.
Yeah, I love that cover. I think it's so funny. Dan's got like a big boy job now.
Really?
Yeah, he's busy. He's like got like he works for like a label, for like a big label.
Nice.
Like I think he does like streaming work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was the process like of that? Like, how did you choose? Like, did you choose the song? Like, how did that all come together?
It's funny because it was songs you don't particularly like.
Yeah, it was
something
called,
like that.
Now that's called, now that's what I call music, and then in parentheses that I don't particularly.
Yeah. Well, it's In the End is the only song I could think of that I like really dislike, that I knew all the words to. and also the only thing I know how to play on piano is the banana. And so I was like, okay, I'll just introduce it in that and then completely use that to misdirect straight into like a folk punk cover of it. So yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Like, but now he's sang on one of your albums, right?
Yeah, on the self-titled. Yeah, just Nick and Dan both did some guest vox on that record.
They popped up a long time ago on my Spotify Discover Weekly, and I just saw the picture of the little girl like praying the album, It's Cool to Be Nice, or something about be kind or be nice. Or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is this? Is so like odd and interesting. So, okay, I want to talk about some of your lyrics really quick. Specifically your song, I'm Afraid of Everything.
Yeah.
Easily one of the most haunting pieces of music because of how relatable it is. Like, I don't know if I've ever aligned with lyrics as much as I've aligned with My Mind is Haunting Me, podcasts drown out the pain. Like, I can't think of anything that is more nail directly on the head than that. That's absolutely, like, I just love the hell out of that song. I was just wondering if you could give me like a little insight kind of on that song, or if there is anything specifically going on when you were writing that song. I love that song so much.
Well, I was sad. Well, let me think. I'm trying to like, let me bring up the lyrics on my phone. I can give you a better, those opening lines are definitely, it's just about being lonely. Like it's like, and podcasts are this. Oh, that's a podcast that just automatically went on my phone. Yeah, it's just like podcasts are like this entryway into feeling like you're like talking to people.
I agree.
Like, you're like hanging out with people,
but not actually hang out with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome.
There's no like
pressure.
Yeah, you're just listening to a conversation of people with good rapport with each other. Like,
I love it,
and that's great.
And that's exactly how I feel. Like with me, depression is a problem, but specifically anxiety is my big monster. That's my big number one like monster. So podcast is this perfect way. Like I go to sleep to them. Like anytime I'm by myself, I put them on. It just like distracts me from. It keeps my brain from eating itself away, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I pretty much. I'm the same way. It's like when I'm going to sleep or when I'm like long drives.
Yeah.
Like Comedy Bang Bang got me through driving across the country both times. Like
sorry, I don't want to keep interrupting you. What are some of the podcasts that you really like that you subscribe to?
I don't have like a big library. It's pretty much Comedy Bang Bang. That was like my entryway. Love it. Doughboys I got really into. That's what I listened to on the way here. That's one of the dudes from the Birthday Boys, the sketch troupe.
Okay, gotcha.
And his friend, what's his name? Like Mike Weiber, I think.
Okay.
That's probably not his name. I know Weiber's his last name. But yeah, they review fast food. But it's like, well, it's not even just fast food anymore because they've done so many episodes. It's just like restaurants, but like mostly like chain restaurants. It's not like but yeah, it's just so funny because that's the premise for the podcast. But like the first 3/4 of every one of them, they're not talking about the food at all. Like they'll mention it. They'll be like, "Oh, we're getting off topic," and like but it's like that's the whole podcast is being off topic. And then at the end, they're like, "Yeah, so we had the meal, and it's like." Underwhelming, like I don't know, but yeah, that's a really funny one. What else? I like How Did This Get Made a lot.
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
Funny.
That's awesome.
Jason Mantzoukas is the best.
See, my big ones are like everybody in the Joe Rogan camp. Like I love all those guys. Yeah. Like whether it's Rogan or Segura or Bill Burr, like all of those guys. But the thing that broke me into podcasts was Smodcast with Kevin Smith.
Oh, okay.
That's I worship Kevin's, like the whole Smod universe, like all of that stuff.
I watched the vast majority of those like movie ones where he's
the
like
Q&As.
Yes,
me too. That's what got me into it. Before I knew what podcasting was, I would go to sleep to those Q&As.
Yeah. Kevin Smith, like he's not making great films anymore.
No.
But he's become something great in a very different way. Where he's like I read an article about this, which is like they said that with Kevin Smith, what he did, he adjusted to the times better than like any other like film personality. Because like he basically set up an empire of like podcasting and like live shows and stuff that like
would keep him relevant no matter what.
And it's like now he can just like all of his stuff is like weird passion projects.
Yeah,
and
I know.
It's not
all
even
about
like
Canadians.
He's doing like the Canadian trilogy of weird monster movies.
But I heard they're not even gonna finish.
Yeah,
the one Moose Jaws.
Moose Jaws.
No, but oh god, the one with his daughter.
Oh, Yoga Hosers. So bad.
So like I knew it was gonna be bad, but I was like, oh, it'll be like funny bad. It's like not funny bad. It's like unfunny bad. It's just like why is this a movie bad?
I love Tusk. I thought Tusk.
I like Tusk.
It's like Justin Long and Tusk is just
Tusk is underrated. I saw that in theaters.
Me too.
And I remember a lot of people were like shitting on it, and I was like. Yeah, but it's like supposed to be a B movie.
Yeah.
Like that's the point. Like that was the whole premise of it. Is like as a joke. And then the reveal of like it was just like, oh, this is stupid. But like in a good way. I was like, this is stupid.
My roommate and I saw that together and we're just like okay, so first of all, We absolutely loved the podcast. And if you've heard the podcast for Tusk, it makes the movie... Okay, if you watch the movie without hearing the podcast, it'll be good. But if you watch it and enjoyed the podcast, it's a hell of an experience. And when they showed Justin Long in the walrus suit, I lost my mind. I was absolutely like...
Yeah, that like I felt... Yeah, in the theater, I was like, all right, this like justifies the ticket price. Like...
Oh yeah, I mean, even when we watched that. He showed me that movie. That movie was my introduction to Kevin Smith. Which is terrible.
Yeah, that's very
I didn't grow up watching movies or like I only listened to music growing. I didn't want stop. I don't want to go into it.
You didn't watch. Wait,
no,
you didn't watch movies.
Did not watch movies much or TV or anything. We're not going to go into that.
Weird upbringing.
Weird, yeah. Okay.
You're
so
good.
we're sitting...
not like trigger warning bad, just like
no,
just
fine.
lame, just lame.
Just lame upbringing. Okay, thanks. Let my dad know that one.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and my dad's really with it, and he listens to all the same podcasts as him and everything. But I don't know, I just never got that. And we're sitting in our bedroom, and all we have is the bed frame, a mattress, and a little 32-inch TV. And he puts that on, and I watch it, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I call my dad. I'm like, Dad, I just watched Tusk, and he's like, how fucked up are you? I'm like, I'm not. And he's like, well, did you like it? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it on like the Thursday night early release, and it was me and like 10 other people, but I didn't care because it was great. Anyway, back to what we were talking about originally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was like looking at the lyrics.
Sorry,
and I forgot.
I didn't mean to.
No, it's good. Yeah, so it goes into the podcast Drown Out the Pain, like but this is the line I love is when you watch a sitcom, like, is it analogous to your life or do you get caught up in the fantasy? That whole last bit, like, I feel like that's one of the better like verses I've like written.
Explain that. Just go into it. Tell me about that.
It's like what I've realized over time. It's like we get like a big thing that like fucked me up when I was younger that like I've snapped out of now, like growing up, like snapping out of the like childhood mindset. But like we get so caught up in the media we consume, you know, and it's like
completely.
And it's like with sitcoms, it's like this. It's such a fantasy because it's these groups of people that are always interacting for some reason, and like. They have this great rapport and like they always like work things out and and it's just like that's not real life. Like you're spending most of your time alone. And it's like they don't show these characters like laying in bed like awake all night. Like that's what people are doing. Like they're on their laptops like watching YouTube videos at 4 a.m. Like that's what people are. Those are what actual lives are like. Or work, which is not a thing that's shown.
I know.
I don't know. It's just this. It's such a disconnection from reality that I feel when art is more like reality, but it still manages like to be that like entertainment. It's so like relieving,
like Office Space, like movies like,
I love Office Space.
Movies like that.
I'd say my favorite example of this right now is have you seen this show called You're the Worst on FX?
No.
I think it's on FXX now. But
we don't have cable.
Yeah, we
have
Netflix. Sorry, we have like Netflix and DVDs.
If you have the internet, you can watch anything.
It's
it's legal to watch anything. If you stream something on the internet, you're not doing something illegal.
That's awesome.
You're not downloading it.
Yeah, as long as you don't download it. So I just have websites.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just watch it. What's nice is living in Arizona, it's like it airs on the East Coast. So I watch it like 3 hours before it actually airs.
Hell yeah.
Which is great.
So it's like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're already in your pajamas.
I don't have cable, but I'm still watching it before it airs here anyway. So it's fine. But You're the Worst is like my favorite show on TV now. It's a sitcom type show, but it's painfully like real where the characters are extremely flawed. Like it has the most honest depiction of depression on like television that I've ever seen. It tackles like PTSD from like a guy that was in Iraq and stuff, but it does it all in like it's a comedy, and it's very funny too.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like, but it derives its storylines and its like character arcs and struggles from reality. People making shitty mistakes, making terrible decisions, like, and it's just real. And it's like, then I go back and watch, like, it's like Parks and Rec. I love it, but like now I go back and rewatch it, and it's like,
this isn't reality at all.
Yeah, it's like I love it. I love it. And it's like John Ralphio comes on screen. I'm like, yeah. But it's just it's. I feel like Parks and Rec was the real like transition of like where optimism like died for me. You know, it's like I love it. Like optimism is good, but in like media, it's more. Just like big for it to be real. So it's like I've watched. I'm a big TV person. I've watched everything.
That's awesome.
Like I don't even like Friends, but I've seen every episode of Friends, and I hate Entourage, but I've seen every episode of Entourage, and I can say this for too many shows. And then there are shows that are great that I haven't watched, like The Wire. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like. I've seen like formulaic sitcoms and I watch every episode, and it's like at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not even sad it's over. None of that was real. That was just candy.
I kind of feel that way. Okay, so I'm like one of my first sitcoms ever, and it's terrible, but I'm watching Shameless right now.
Oh, I love
Shameless.
Shameless
is amazing. It's good. It's good and it's funny, and I like the character development. Yeah. It's so unrealistic. It's ridiculously unrealistic. Oh, yeah. It doesn't even make me feel like warm and cozy because it's so unrealistic.
It's starting to get back. It's starting to get a little bit more. We're almost caught up, and it's starting to get a little bit more dramatic. And like the first season, I felt like was the most. Like the
first season was awesome.
But well, because that one was like based on the. That was when it was more UK, like right? When based it was more like confined to the story of that, which is more realistic than the U.S. one. The U.S. one sort of leans into the like. The fantasy aspect of it, where it's like, oh, things go real wrong, but they always work out in the end.
Like, my little brother just snorted cocaine.
Jeez.
So
I forgot about that arc.
Or like Carl shooting a bald eagle on Thanksgiving like little things like
and
that.
Kev like puts in the freezer.
Yeah,
honestly, the whole character, the whole art, the whole existence of that like Russian woman character that's like
Svetlana. Yeah.
I don't know. I like her though.
I love her.
I like her character.
Hilarious.
I like her character, but within the story, it's like, what is this even function? It's like the writers were like, she's funny. We should keep her on, and they just wrote it in. Like there was no logic to it.
It was just like, okay, we hired this lady who will take her clothes off, but she's actually funny, so let's keep her on the show.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so another one of the lyrics that I really like is from All's Hell That Ends Hell.
Yeah.
And the line "longing for the times you were escaping from."
Yeah.
Really like hit me in the right, because like, and I could be interpreting this wrong, but when I heard that, I immediately just thought of like, I find myself oftentimes looking back at the past and like missing parts of it, but I was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Even back then. So you know what I mean? So it's like, whether it doesn't matter what state of malcontent I might be at the moment, I'll look back at these other times where I know I was miserable. Like I look back at this job that I used to have that sucked, but I still find myself looking back towards it because of like one or two little things that I liked about it. Like I just wanted to know what your insight on that line was.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty close interpretation. For me, I feel like it's more specifically about it's like longing for the times when you were like carefree. Yeah. You know, it's like you. I mean, I wasn't. It's like I know I wasn't, but like compared to now, it's like I'm very like aware and conscious of myself and like my actions and my like behaviors and thoughts and like feelings, to where like I know how to like not get caught up in it now, and I know like how to like be who I think I am and not just like be on an autopilot of bullshit constantly.
Totally.
Like, but it's like I was it's like I look back on these times where I was like I was miserable, but I like wasn't. I was worrying about all these like like manufactured things, like superficial things.
Yeah.
It's like it's like I was saying, it's like I was caught up in like a child mindset.
Yeah.
Where it's like you get caught up in this like, oh, it's like it's this whole, as long as I'm like trying, that's all that matters. Right?
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing. It's like, I'm miserable, but I want to be good, and that's what matters. It's like, no, that's not what matters. It's like you get older, and it's like, no, you gotta like be better. Like you have to do it. Like it's not trying. Like it's like Yoda said.
Yeah,
you just have to fucking do it.
Yeah,
you just, and it's like I look back on these times. It's like, oh, that was like great. I wasn't like worrying about stuff. It's like, no, I was just worrying about stupid shit.
Yeah.
Now I'm worrying about things that matter.
Yeah,
like
for sure. It's easier it's almost like for me anyway, it's almost like I miss the blissful naivety that I
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like this like disconnection where you, and then you just get old enough and it's like you see the reality of it all, and it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, it's actually terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Childhood naivety is terrible, and like I feel like that's a lot of like the older generation's like problem is they're still caught up in it, and like I think that's what's cool. Like people shit on millennials, but millennials are like, I think internet culture has created this like accountability. Like people have to be like, they have to stay on top of it. Like they have to like. Cause like there's a story about like, what was it, like a journalist that like made this horrible like joke about Africa on like her Twitter, and like on the plane when she didn't have, I think it was like, there was this terrible joke. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like, she was like, oh, going to Africa.
Yes, I remember that.
And it's like
I'm white, so I won't get AIDS.
I think it was Ebola, or maybe it was AIDS. I don't know, but it was just
terrible.
Terrible joke.
It's not funny.
But it was like supposed to be sarcastic.
Yeah,
and it's like she got on the plane, she didn't have Wi-Fi, and then she got off, and she was fired from her job. Like, and she was like headlines and like, and it just goes to show that it's like internet culture has created this way where it's like, hey, you have to know that's bad. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter if, like, it's a joke. It's not. It's, like, not. Like, it's like, it's not funny. Like, what's the joke?
Yeah.
Who's the punchline?
Yeah.
It's like, people are more thinking about these things now. And, like,
agree.
people have to stay on top of themselves, because if they don't, people are on Twitter going to be like, hey, you're a dick. And then either you can choose to be like, no, I'm not a dick, you're a dick, and then go the direction of the alt-right shitheads. Power
struggle.
And become president of the United States.
Yeah, or just be like, oh, there's probably validity to what they're saying. Maybe I should try to be a better person. Like, yeah.
I agree. Like, I do feel like there's a lot against the millennials. Like, there's a lot of people say a lot of awful shit about the millennials, but it is true that a couple of things that they have is like it's I feel like they because they or we or whatever counts as millennials has such an access to information.
Yeah,
I feel like it makes it to where they/we want information more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you hate being withheld information because you're so used to having it, which is better than just being like
blissfully
unaware. Like, because you have the information at their fingertips. Some people say that they take it for granted, but I don't know. I feel like it's not that way. I feel like if you were to take that immediate information away, it would piss people off.
Well, I'd say a lot of people do take it for granted, and that's the whole like appeal of like the fake news stuff.
Yeah,
because it's like they see a headline, and it's
funny.
like, oh, it's true.
Yeah,
I saw it in a headline, and it's like
times.
they don't think about it. It's like, hey, like Google's free. Like, all you gotta do is type that in and see like it's not real. Mm-hmm. Like, that's all it takes. But a lot of people don't. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it's like
true.
It's crazy to me, but like that's so many people's mindset. Like, it's not. It's they see something and it's like, oh, that fits my worldview. Must be true.
Exactly. It's like you do, especially with social media. Social media has helped to implicate this kind of echo chamber, and when it comes to like what you're saying, like everyone just believes the headlines. It is very much like that. In that, like, What's actually happening is you're getting a bunch of information at you at once, and what you have to do is you have to discern which one of those pieces of information is real. Because most likely a lot of that's not going to be, and it's your job then, as a thinking person, to kind of flip through and be like, okay, well, I don't think that this is true because this, and that probably came from this website or all, whatever. But a lot of people just want to see the thing and be like, "Oh my God, Chester Bennington's still alive! Holy shit!" Like it's just
Tom Petty didn't have a heart attack.
Yeah, like everyone wants to see whatever they think is interesting. They want to believe what they think is interesting, whatever's convenient for them.
All the fucking Vegas truthers stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus
all the Photoshop
Christ,
that's everywhere.
It's insane.
I know. But I mean, it's bound to happen with anything that's big like that, which sucks.
It's like, all those cell phone videos of people that were there they were faked.
Yeah. I haven't even heard a lot of those because I haven't.
Oh God, I'm surprised how much I've seen. Look,
do people say it's fake?
Literally anything happens in the world and somebody's gonna be like,
I'm not buying it.
I don't think so.
Fake.
I wasn't there. So
see, I haven't. It's weird. I haven't heard that it's fake. I've heard people say that there was like actually a dozen windows were broken or whatever.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole thing with like conspiracy stuff. It's like if there's even the like smallest bit, there's people that take it all the way.
Yeah,
and
sure.
like that's the thing. Like there's fucking Holocaust like
I know
truthers where it's like
still
didn't happen. It's like people are alive.
Yeah,
right now that were there.
or you have people who are like, I don't know about 10 million, more like 2. Like,
yeah, it's like what? It's like, does that change anything? Like,
I almost think you're worse if you like believe it but don't believe like the core of it. Like, no, it was 2 million people, not 10.
Just
yeah, it's like so it wasn't that bad. It was actually 4/5 less bad than you thought it was.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're that's
it's an insane mindset. Like, yeah.
So one of the other things that this is the last like specific lyric that I have brought up. So I told my doctor today I'm not a man, I'm not a woman. Hell, I don't know who I am. Can you just like explain that? Because that's a loaded, hella loaded.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem too loaded for me. I don't know. I just don't think like I think there's so much like. With gender stuff, there's so much. People are talking about it too much.
Yeah,
like that's what I like. When it comes to gender, people are focusing on it way too much. Like, I mean, I get it because like to an extent we need to, just to like make it very like public to people.
Yeah. Even Bill Nye did it on his new show, which I thought was like super awesome.
I still haven't watched it.
It's you can tell who funded him.
Yeah.
It was so great though. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I'm non-binary, gender neutral, whatever. I don't know. Like to me, I don't like. I used to talk about it more than I do now. But like as I've gotten older, I realize it's like not that big of a part of like my identity. Yeah. It's like, and it's weird to me how like the culture surrounding gender, it's like it's always the first thing people say. Mm-hmm. And like I get it. Like if you're meeting someone, it's like, hey, these are my pronouns or whatever. It's like, you gotta respect that. Like that's, for sure. That's cool. But it's like when, I don't know. When it becomes ingrained in like, that's all you are, and like there was like I've like gotten real like what's the word I forgot I can't think. I have so many brain farts with like words.
You're
fine. Yeah, it's just like there's so many bands that are now like, yeah, we're a queer band. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, but like, are you singing about the queer experience or like what? It's like you have queer members, but like that doesn't define you as a queer band. Like I think it's
more that defines you as a person other than what your gender is.
It's I feel like it's this see it's like complicated because there's this side of it that's like an embrace. It's like they're saying it because they want it to be like a public like, yeah, who cares? We're a queer band. It's like that's cool. But it's like there's also the darker side where it's like tokenized, It's like when bands are like, oh, it's a female fronted band.
I know.
It's like very disclusive towards
Yeah. It's just like it's like that's not what they are. Like it's like they're like a pop punk band, or they're like a folk band. Like it's like I don't know. I think it's just like this it's like if a band's like singing a lot about like the queer experience, like I get it, but
it almost becomes a marketing tool at some point.
Yeah, but I think like that's where I can't even criticize it though, because it's like people are like it's a marketing thing, but in the same way it's like just an open thing. It's just like, who cares? We're a queer band, like it doesn't matter. But in the same time, it's like venues will be like, hey, we're inclusive. We have the queer band on the bill, and it's like that's not
queer nights.
That doesn't make you like less of a part of like the bad parts of DIY. Like I don't know. It's just
like
it's just stressful. Like this is why I don't like try to market myself as like, oh, I'm a queer act, because it's like, anybody looks at me, they see white dude, and it's like that's I'm not gonna like be like, oh no, I'm like a queer icon. Like I'm not. Like I am non-binary, but that's not what I am.
Yeah,
it's like you listen to my music. It's more about who I am. It's about who everyone is. It's about the deeper things. And I think the focus on gender is like it's a focus on the anger of like the bigotry towards it. It's focusing on the problems. And I think it's like, it's better to just be like, have it just be an offhand thing. It's like, yeah. Or like if someone's trans, it's like, yeah, I'm trans, but it's like, but I'm an artist first,
Yeah.
Like
some people, I mean, I think some people definitely, they look throughout their life to be able to define themselves as something.
Yeah,
They, as soon as they can find a label that fits them, they're gonna do that, and they're gonna wear it because like everybody has stuff like this, but like they need something to make themselves feel like they are something or someone, and that's like, okay, well, I identify as this. I am this now, and now I'm gonna put it everywhere because I finally found out what I kind of am, and this is what it is. And eventually those people grow and change and whatever. But
I mean, I totally get it. But that's why I'm like critical of it. I'm only critical of it because I totally get it. Because like that's like when like in my, I hate to be like, because I'm not that old now. I'm only 24.
Yeah, me too.
But like when I was like 19, it was like I was totally latching onto stuff like that. It's like I wanted to be able to
be part of a group.
Yeah, like fit into this like inclusivity of people. But then like you get older and you realize, oh, they're like shitty trans people. Yeah. Like it's like because they're people. Like that's
you can still be trans and shitty.
Yeah, like this is the whole thing where it's like I'm gonna judge people on the content of their specific character and what they show me. And so like when it comes to me, it's like I don't know. I think with my music and just like my life in general, like over time, I just want to dig deeper.
For
like
sure.
It doesn't like this. It's like gender is important, and like especially now when it's like becoming more accepted and more mainstream, like to the point where the right wing is constantly like, oh no, only two genders. Like
I know.
It's like a mainstream thing now where like pundits are like talking about it, and that's good because like people are talking about it. But I don't know. As an individual, it's like I want to dig deeper. Like what is more in there? What's the core of this? Like what is the like root?
Yeah.
Like I don't care about the flowers. I care about I'm digging down.
Yeah.
Like I want to see the dirt. Like
that's great. I love that's a really, really good analogy. Like I felt that I got that experience for the first time when I was a teenager, and I finally I loved punk rock music and I worshipped it, but I didn't know anybody else. I didn't know anybody who liked it. Like I grew up in Ohio for 15 years, and then I moved out here my freshman year of high school to Gilbert, Arizona. Like I didn't know any like punk rockers or people who liked punk music. I wasn't a punker by any means. I just really wanted to meet other people who liked the same kind of music I did. Finally did. I met a couple like real hardcore punk guys, and I hung out with them for about an hour and a half before becoming extremely bummed out, disenchanted, and I never talked to either of them ever again because I was like, well, you guys suck as people. Mm-hmm. But it's not because that's not like all punks suck, but like that's when I understood, like just because
just because someone
do,
Yeah, well, that was a big thing in my, like, when I put out that Human Kitten album. It's like I got a lot of attention afterwards. Yeah, and like, it didn't give me an ego. I was still fucking miserable and hated myself. Yeah. But like, it was cool to have the attention, and like I got to know a lot of people, and then I realized like, damn, they're like. People even worse off than I am, like doing worse. And it's like, I don't know. It's like being older now, when I meet someone that I like don't like, someone that's like acting in a way I don't like, someone that's like mean or like just like toxic in general, like, I don't know. I just always remember it's like, oh, there's something deeper. Like it's not, they just like aren't this way because they're like a sociopath. They're just like fucked up. They're just like had trauma like everyone else.
They
like,
just don't have better information.
Yeah, they just haven't hit a thing in their life where they felt the need to change or like, I don't know. So I meet shitty people and it's like, well, this is like a good example. I lived with like this couple and the husband was like very like emotionally abusive, like towards the wife and me. Like he would like shit talk me in the next room, just like insulting me really loud. He would like say he wanted me to die and like that he wished he could kill me and shit. Yeah. I felt like kind of unsafe, but it was like I tried to lean into like empathizing with him and like trying to talk to him. It's like he'd been in like jail a lot and he'd been addicted to so many drugs and like so much fucked up stuff had happened in his life. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, if someone treats you bad, the best thing you can do is if you're stuck with them, like lean into empathizing and trying to figure out what the thing is. Because then when they're shitty towards you, you can be like, they're hurt, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then if you can get out. Because, do for your mental health. Like if you need someone out of your life, there's no like, honestly, what's affected me most of becoming a better person is people pushing me out of their life. And like, then I was like, oh, why did they do that? And I'm like, oh, because I was being terrible.
Yeah.
It was like, because I was miserable and I was spreading that misery.
Decorating
like,
everybody with your
bullshit.
bullshit.
And it's like, I don't know. But like in that, like being on that side, it makes it so much easier to be on the other side too. It's just like empathy is the core of everything. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. Like my mental health is so much better now because it's about, it's not about me. Mm-hmm. It's about like, I mean, my music's still about me. That's how I deal with my own shit. But
so what were you going to say? I cut you off a minute ago.
It's totally fine. It does nothing to do with this anymore.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I went on a tangent.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
No, I cut her off. It's my bad. So yeah, everybody has an underlying thing as to why they are that way. There's plenty of people who I know who will get into an argument and it's just like, look, you may have been in the right in this argument, but that doesn't change the fact that like this other person just doesn't have the information or the communication skills to really be able to convey what they're trying to say properly. It's not that they're a bad person. It's just they can't communicate that well, and then maybe later they'll apologize or whatever. But there's always something else. I mean, some people are just shit. Like, but
there are still people like that for sure. There are people that don't want to ever learn, and that like those people are the worst. But
there's plenty of people who like cut you off in traffic because they were daydreaming about the shit that the doctor told them on the way there, and they weren't trying to be an asshole to you. Like it happens all the time, but because we're so in our own bubble, we just see like that guy. Fucking it's just so easy to just immediately like, especially when you're in a car and you're in the safe cube of the like metal and glass, everybody else is the enemy and you can just be like all powerful and great, you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm just a crazy person, but I feel like that's how it's easy to be that way.
No, I get it, especially in a car. Yeah, for sure. That's why road rage is like a very common thing.
Yeah, I remember
all ages.
One time someone didn't even do something that bad to me and I flipped them off. This was like a couple days ago. I flipped them off and then immediately was like, no, I was totally in the wrong there. But I don't know why I don't feel bad about flipping that person off. It's because I'm in a car. Like, I'm totally like safe in a car, and that's divorce. But I immediately caught that and was like, that's not good. Like,
I think that also transfers like to everyday life. You're surrounded by like your friends and people who think like you, and then you go and you go to work or you go to the grocery store and you're surrounded by people who aren't the same as you, and you feel like, oh yeah, I'm right, and not any of these other people.
Yeah, I have a good example for that one. I was at Walmart. And there were these two cashiers like across from each other. So there were like two lines right next to each other. But it was like the same length. So it was kind of forming one line. So it was like whichever one opened up like became the thing. And this like woman came up, a woman and like our friend, and they were like, which line are you in? And it's like, oh, I think I'm just in both because it's like I can't tell which one's really going to be the one. And they were like kind of acting like, oh, no, that's not how it works. And at first they were behind me. Then they got in front of me. And then they like got in. And I was just like, I don't know. It was just like annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
And they were like, I don't know, like what, like the whole time before they did that, they were like talking about it.
Oh, God.
Like, and like how I was wrong.
Oh my God.
And it's like, we're all just trying to buy this bullshit from Walmart. Like, I don't know. It was just like, what is this? Like, what hurry are you in? Like,
I know.
Right now?
People who over dramatize things like that are people who have nothing else going on in their life to focus on. It's like, oh yeah, I have to get angry about this work drama because nothing in my personal life is worth soaking that up.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? I have to get mad at this person who flipped me off all day, and it's going to ruin my entire day because I got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
I ended up just walking like 5 cashiers over and like I immediately got
You won.
Like, yeah, like I
won.
got ahead of them. They were like so caught up in like being right there
that they missed an
didn't
opportunity.
Realize that they could have just walked a couple feet.
And I hope you made eye contact with them as you walked.
No, see that's the thing. It's like it peeved me but it was like at the same time it's like who cares?
And then you walked out and you forgot about it and you didn't remember it until you sat
down.
No,
I remember the drive home. I was like,
that's what the new album's about.
Yeah, it's all about that. Yeah,
I saw.
It's just rap disses.
Yeah. Oh my, like the cipher. Yes, that's just it's ciphers. I was at Fry's the other night, and this lady, we were in the self checkout, and she rang up everything at one, and she had a whole huge grocery cart full. She rang up everything at one, paid on that one, and then went to the next one over and kept all her shit there. Yeah. And moved to another one and just did the same thing there, but kept that one until you remove your stuff. It says please remove your. So she kept that there and then went over here and did it again over here. I was like.
Those people aren't self-aware, and like I'm such a painfully self-aware person. I'm like, oh my God, am I doing that? And I'm constantly paranoid about what I'm doing wrong.
Well, see, this is like the trick of the world is the people that are self-aware are the ones that are in pain.
Yeah,
and the ones that aren't, are just like it doesn't matter.
I like really start stepping into like my self-awareness when I was like 13, 14, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm kind of a shit person. Like,
mine was like 21. 22.
Yeah, mine is steadily grown since 14, and then it got hit like a huge like upward. It was like steadily growing, and then I hit like 21, and it was like boom. Yeah, it was like oh shit, like. This is life. Like you gotta, be a person. Like,
self-awareness is just like it's just like the blissful naivety we were talking about before. Like which one's better, being a shithead but not knowing you're being a shithead and being able to live a little freer, I guess. Or no.
Well, that's the thing is like, it's like the longing for the times you're escaping from. It's like it's a fog. It's like it's not real.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're longing for it because of like what it represents, not what it was. It's like you remember it and it's like, oh, it's fucking terrible. Mm-hmm. It's like I feel so much better now and more secure in like who I am and like what I do and like what I want to be and just everything about my life. And back then I was like constantly on the verge of wanting to die. Like, well, no, I constantly wanted to die. Constantly on the verge of killing myself. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like now it's like it's been like over like 2 years since I've actually like felt where it's like, oh, I should just die. Like, I don't feel that way anymore. It's like I get miserable, but it's like, the self-awareness is where it's like, oh, but that would hurt people.
Yeah. And here's the thing though, if you were to go back in time somehow and like maintain your same brain for a second to be able to like, okay, here I am, I'm in my like 15-year-old self again, how do I feel?
Yeah,
it's immediately gonna be like, oh, I forgot about all of this shit that I hated. At least I could drive a car in my life now. Like at least I can be alone in my apartment. I can do this, that, the other thing. And then you're like well, this sucks and you have to go back. And then but so one of the things that I really relate to about your art is your seemingly pervasive battle with your brain and your constant need to shut off, as you say, which is another thing that I say all the time. To me, and again, this is just inference, but it seems like instead of wallowing in your sadness like a lot of people do, and I'm sure you do from time to time, you seem to battle with it and constantly like like this idea of like to say shut off is to imply a battle, so it's not like you don't want it to happen anymore. I think that's like really, really interesting. Is that something that you could talk about? Like, is that true? Yeah,
no, for sure. Like even in my like worst times, it was a constant fight. It was like it's the whole like feeling a certain way and knowing it's irrational.
Yeah, fuck yes, that's exactly
and just like. So it's the intellectual fighting the emotion, and it's this constant just like, how do I align the intellectual with the emotional? And like I feel like these days I'm getting closer and closer. It's like you're always gonna learn more. It's like I'm never like that's what I've learned is that like I'm never going to hit that, but I'm getting a lot better at it. And it's like back then, it was just constant, just like feeling insane. Knowing it's insane to feel insane over the things I feel insane about, and then just feeling out of control because it was a constant like two sides. It was like, I've read some like stuff online. It's like I think it's like the left side of our brain is like the identity part. Mm-hmm. It might be the other way around.
Yeah,
but the thing is like the right side of our brain also has those parts, but it doesn't it
doesn't function.
It doesn't like show it. So people have like written a lot about how it's like you basically have these personalities inside of you that can't talk.
Yeah.
Like you have these like
it's your id.
Parts. Yeah, you have these parts of you. You have you're the part of your identity you'll never really understand that you have to somehow reconcile with. And like that was the battle. It's like it's battling with this part of myself that isn't something I relate to on an identity level. It's like it's not who I think I am, but it's what I am,
Yeah, that's so I have that need to shut off all the time. And a lot of mine, like my anxiety when it doesn't have anything to really like, if there's nothing actually going on in my life at the time for me to be irrationally anxious about, it'll just start creating physical maladies. It's a big like hypochondria thing too, where it's like I'll start to notice things that I never noticed before, or I'll start to think that I'm dying because this, that, the other thing, and my body will almost like create these phantom pains that don't exist. And then,
I've been there.
And then I get like in a situation like this where I'm busy and I'm conversing with somebody and I'm enjoying myself and I'm not thinking about that at all, and it completely goes away.
Yeah.
Which is me knowing like, hey, well, it's not fucking real if it just goes away whenever I'm not busy or whenever I'm busy. So, but then again, I'll be by myself or I'll be laying in bed or it'll be at nighttime and I'll be like, and it comes back, and it's just like fuck, like it's just constant need to just like want to be normal, quote unquote normal. But like, it's almost easier for me. It's almost a relief. Like I know everybody says you don't want to be told it's all in your head.
Yeah.
But it's almost a relief to be like, I'm not dying. I'm just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But like, what kind of a life is that?
Yeah.
Like that sucks.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. Is it's not all in your head. It's real. Yeah. But it's like everything is all. Like that's the thing is everything is all in your head. It's your experience of being a human being. So it's like No, but it's the exact same for me. It's like when I'm busy, I'm fine. It's like, and then I get into bed and I'm like, oh fuck. Like
I know.
I feel like shit.
Like when
my body feels like shit.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going crazier. It's like, I don't know, but like that's why people always like recommend. It's like, oh, get hobbies. Like take a walk. It's like workout.
Knitting.
Do this stuff. And it's like you just have something to keep busy, and like that helps so much
while you're busy.
Yeah. It's like straight up. It's like I'll feel like shit, and I'll just be like, oh, I could just like walk around, and it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about where I work is I'm like constantly moving and walking around, and that's another thing. That's another thing that like tells my brain like what you're feeling isn't actually something physically wrong with you because you've had what it's like. Like I tell myself like what it's like to actually have a real pain. Like walking makes it worse. Being busy makes it worse. Yep. So it's like it's just this, and that's only something that started over the last like year or so because I've finally hit this part where I'm stable. Like I'm stable. I've got a good job. Like I'm in a good relationship and all this stuff. So it's like okay, like my brain's like, what else can I corrode? Like what I need to find something internal, and it's just this constant thing. And that's why you have songs like fucking But Keep Trying. That is so absolutely monumentally like wonderful because it's like this musician who obviously is tortured. So many songs about being haunted and tortured and dour and this and that. And there's a song about like keep moving and keep going. And that's so well, it's so much better to hear from someone like that than from some like motivational speaker. You know what I mean? You want to hear it from someone who's speaking from the other side.
Yeah. Well, you have to that's like this is what it's a survival response. It's like you have to fight. You just have to keep going and like find what works. And I don't know. I feel like those songs that are like that have increased like every album, because I'm like finding more. And I feel like this new album has the like most of that kind of. Mm-hmm. I mean, not really. It's more. This is the most like cohesive. I feel like because it like the sad songs are what starts it, and then it like floods into like a realization part, and then floods into like the getting better type stuff, and then it floods into the end where it's just like this is reality. It's like where's the middle ground,
So how has expressing yourself in this way helped you cope with all of this stuff?
Oh God, I have to do it. I want to be like, oh, that's like I do it for the people that need.
No, but that's so fucking. Anytime anyone says that, that's like when comedians say, "I just love the laughter." Like fuck you. Yeah. That's not so. Like that's so not true.
I will say it is why I record still.
Yes.
Earlier on, I recorded because I wanted people to hear it, and now I record it because I feel like people want to hear it, And it's like I don't even like recording; it's my least favorite part, and it takes me so long, and I'm bad at it. But it's like I'll sit there doing the same guitar part forever, and I hate it. But yeah, I write the songs for me. I have to do it. Like I would not survive like if I didn't have music. And it's crazy thinking about it because like this is where like the empathy part comes in too. Because like so many people don't have an outlet like that. It's like so many people don't have something to lean into when they feel crazy. Then they don't have something to like just get it out and just like I feel like especially for like people raised male, like because like men aren't supposed to talk about their feelings, especially to other men. And like I was like reading a thing the other day. It's like a big reason men are like so toxic to women, and like especially when it's like the friend zone stuff, is because they're like an emotional outlet. It's like their only emotional outlet. It's like being in a relationship with a woman and having a woman to talk to. And it's like that's all there is for men. And I mean like that it doesn't need to be that way though, is what I'm saying.
Of course,
And it's just like that is the toxicity of the patriarchy, and that's toxic masculinity. Like it's this like pounding force of just like men don't talk about it. Like we don't support each other emotionally.
You know what?
It's like, and it's fucked up. But I mean, like, I think about it, and it's like when a man is shitty towards me, I'm like, this dude has no idea how to deal with his emotions. Like,
one of the most beautiful things to me was one of my closest friends, like, grew up in an extremely toxic toxic masculinity, like, household. Very, very toxic, very, like, classic masculinity bullshit. And seeing him be away from all of that and around people, and him even being like him doing it himself and being a part of that, seeing him like cocoon out of that once he's away from all of that with people who are not like that at all. And like the struggle is definitely real, and seeing that like he'll say something like this, it's stupid, and then he'll apologize later on, and then be like, and seeing that like change in that development is so amazing. Like to see like people like everybody can change. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Yeah,
no, absolutely. That's like, that is the like fundamental part of my belief system. Is that like, I want everyone deserves the benefit of the doubt of change, of growth, of learning. Like, cause especially young people, like,
yeah, of course,
you know, like when people are like over 30, it's like you're starting to push it, but like even like, I don't know, I like people like my dad, like I've seen him learn so much just over the past like 5 years, and it's like people are always gonna grow and change, and like I don't know, that's I mean that's the whole empathy thing. It's like somebody's bad, but it's like they just haven't learned yet, like where they haven't hit the circumstances where it nurtures that change, where they like realize it and realize things can be better for them and for the people around them. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause like, especially people that grown up in toxic environments, like, just like, I don't know. It's just, people got to constantly think about it. It's like, this person has a whole history. It's like they've had an entire life. Like they're in their head 24/7, just like everyone else. And it's like, you don't know you don't know like if they grew up in foster homes. You don't know if they like had extremely abusive parents. You don't know like, it's just like everybody has a story, and they, like you have to assume it's darker than you think it is. Like,
I agree with that completely. It's always worse than you think that it is, or it's something different than you think it is.
And this is the whole like thing about being young and stupid. It's like you think, everybody else has it figured out.
Yeah,
it's like no, they fucking nobody does. Let people fuck up. Be better.
One of the funniest realizations. I mean, it's funny and shitty at the same time, but like one of the most revealing things was growing up and realizing like that grown-ups are exactly the same as you. Oh, and that once you hit your early 20s, you start to realize, you start to become more friendly with your parents, and you start to realize, or some people do, and you start to realize like they still have no fucking idea what they're doing. Oh, yeah. Basically, like when you're a kid, you believe that and you need to believe that. But like once you get to a certain age, you're like, these people are fucked. Like they have no idea. Like
that's the thing about the whole world. Everyone needs to remember is every single person everywhere is winging it.
Yeah.
No one has any fucking clue. Like people will like act like they do. Like especially like professionals, you know. Like somebody has a PhD, they'll be like, "No, I know a lot about this." Yeah. And it's like, well, that was like what, 40 years ago when you got that degree. Do you remember that stuff? You know your work. You know what you do on a day-to-day basis, but like what do you really know? Like what do you but like I don't know. But even people like that, it's like they realize what matters eventually, and like, I don't know. Yeah, but it's I love people. I love humanity. I think everyone is capable of good, and I think everyone at birth is good. And then shit just happens, and you don't know how to deal with it. Yeah. And people get like toxic coping mechanisms, and then or like they've been abused in certain ways and don't realize it was abuse, and they repeat those behaviors, and then they like fuck everything up, and they don't like think about it, and then I don't know. It's just like everybody needs a little just like it's okay.
I
we're
totally
all
agree.
fucking up. Like, let's just help each other out. Like, let's lift each other up. Like,
I
yeah,
agree.
for sure.
So I want you brought your guitar. I want to hear a song. I want to close this out with a song. I want you to,
Cool.
What I'm going to do is we're going to, I'm going to stop the mics real quick so that we can just get everything arranged, and then we will get that together, and then we'll hear something from the new album.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Hey, this is Human Kitten, and this song is called Living Room at Noon. I wonder what it would be like if I didn't change when I did. Would I still hurt everyone that I love? Would I still be so toxically desperate? Would I still send mass Snapchats to all of my goddamn contacts? As if there was inherent significance in my loneliness. I spent so many nights chastising myself as a strategy to drill into my head the audacity that I must have had to be that way, that I must have had to act that way. I'm just so grateful to have those pills out of my life, to not be binge drinking all the time, to no longer feel like a passenger of a self-driving car, headed straight into a wall. I think there's a future in dissolving into kindness, becoming one with the lightness, nurturing a sympathy for the darkness, and never snapping back to the selfishness that defined you in your past. You must become a person that you truly believe has earned love.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. That's easily going to be like one of my favorite songs. I'm sure you'll blow me away with all of them, but that's so now I have that forever. So that's going to show up on some bootleg somewhere, and
Cool.
you can and I'll take responsibility for that.
Sounds good.
So I just wanted to thank you so much for coming over, for doing this. I really, really enjoyed our conversation. Anytime you want to come over, or I'll go to you in Tucson. I would love to do this again. Really, really, really enjoyed having you on. I enjoyed having a co-host this time who is Mikeless. She can yell.
Hi.
There she is. So
Hi.
yeah. So yeah, dude. Just is there anything you want? When does the album come out?
October 31st.
Halloween.
Yes. Because I rarely ever celebrate Halloween. I wish I did, but
Yeah.
I usually don't get invited to stuff, and I'm usually not prepared enough to have a costume. So.
Dude, I worked at Spirit Halloween for 3 years and didn't do anything for Halloween but
Yeah.
work any of those years. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, have an amazing drive. Safe drive home, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you so
Yeah.
much. And
if anybody had any problems with the things I said, you can just message me, because there's always more I have to say, so I can explain further. If there's any issues, there's no offense meant about anything I said. I just don't really have a filter, and I have a lot of opinions.
that's awesome. No,
yeah.
that's exactly what I want, and that's fantastic. I'm happy that I'm really happy that you're that way.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I have some awesome guests lined up for you in the future. Now